Ned Fulmer is officially checking back into the internet, but he is not looking for redemption. He is actively hunting for engagement by turning his marriage-shattering affair into a literal stand-up comedy routine. The former internet darling spent years marketing himself as the ultimate wholesome family man before a massive public scandal stripped him of his company and his reputation. Everyone thought he would hide away forever out of pure embarrassment. Instead, he is stepping onto stand-up comedy stages to turn his private infidelity into public content. He is seemingly convinced that hate-watching is just as profitable as actual support. He knows exactly what people are typing in his comment sections, and he simply does not care. It's a mess, so let's get into it. To understand how wild this pivot actually is, we have to look back at who Ned Fulmer used to be. A few years ago, his entire brand was built on a single personality trait, which was loving his wife, Ariel. He made millions of dollars by being the dedicated family guy of the internet. When he sat down for content, he promised fans a life of transparency, loyalty, and wholesome entertainment. His wife literally became a main character in his shows. Fans genuinely invested their real emotions into their relationship. Then, the reality of 2022 hit the internet like a slow-moving train wreck. Pictures leaked of him out in public with an employee from his own production company. His virtuous promises vanished instantly. He was forced out of the Try Guys brand, and his business partners immediately started editing his face out of pre-recorded videos. The public trust was entirely broken, and the internet labeled him a massive hypocrite. But flash forward to recent weeks, and Ned is suddenly using those exact ruined lives as a punchline. Is it a genuine attempt to heal through humor, or is it just a desperate bid to soft-launch a return to the algorithms? Now let's talk about the actual stand-up clip that sent shockwaves through social media. Ned posted a video of himself on stage performing a comedy set, and he did not waste any time bringing up his past crimes. He literally joked that he basically wrote the BuzzFeed listicle titled 10 Reasons Why Having a Workplace Affair Will Shatter Your Marriage and Career. He even looked at the crowd and told them to like and subscribe after the punchline. He then claimed this disaster is what led him to do stand-up comedy in the first place. The crowd laughed, but the internet was not amused at all. People on social media immediately started calling out the sheer audacity of the joke. One user on X pointed out that he is essentially treating his family's trauma like a corporate resume builder. Another comment on TikTok stated that laughing at your own affair while your kids are growing up is a wild level of detachment. But Ned did not back down from the backlash. He went ahead and liked a comment saying people have to give him credit for being resilient. It seems he truly believes that getting caught cheating is just a massive mistake that everyone makes. But the stand-up stage was only the beginning of his awkward media blitz. Ned doubled down on his new commentary era by releasing a social clip discussing the concept of divorce. He looked directly at the camera and told his audience that just because you are divorced or separated, it does not mean your family is broken down. He claimed that the concept of a broken home simply does not exist. He told his viewers that people are just rewriting their lives and that everyone has the power to decide how to handle things with their ex for the sake of their children. The comment section under that clip absolutely exploded with raw anger. People were furious that a man who caused his own divorce was now trying to act like a philosophical relationship guru. One top comment on X told him to stop riding on this topic because he broke his family up by doing something completely avoidable and selfish. Another user typed that he needs to get over himself instead of trying to normalize his own messy choices. It is clear that the internet is completely fed up with his attempts to rebrand himself as a wise co-parenting expert. The pushback got so intense that Ned felt the need to respond to the online vitriol directly on his platform. A viewer commented on his video, supporting his attempt to make something out of himself for his children, but begged him to stop associating with that dark part of his life. The comment stated that his past mistakes should not define him and that his kids do not deserve to constantly see this scandal brought up. Ned actually replied to this specific fan statement. He typed out that the rest of his comedy set was actually about dating as a single dad and male friendships. He even added the words, "Trust me, I agree with you." But like I said, his actions are completely contradicting his typed responses. He says he wants to move on, but he keeps bringing up the affair in every other video clip he posts. A massive loop is being opened here because he is clearly feeding the controversy on purpose. He understands that people are only clicking on his name to see the drama. The question is, how far is he willing to go to keep that algorithm alive? We are going to look at his therapy receipts in a second. This brings us directly to his latest and most controversial podcast appearance yet. Ned decided to go onto his own Infidelity Therapist's podcast, re-uploading the entire episode onto his channel with a massive photo of the cheating scandal as the thumbnail. He sat down and retold the entire scandal from top to bottom, detailing the exact fallout and the immense consequences it had on his public figure status. The host straight up asked him if he subconsciously wanted to get caught because he kept going out in public with his affair partner. Ned cleared his throat and admitted that they went to a major concert together after the affair had been going on for many months. He confessed that looking back on his behavior, he certainly was acting in a way that proved he wanted to get caught. He told the therapist that his subconscious mind assuredly needed this fractured life to end. Kanjiatren Reddit immediately labeled this episode as pure rage bait. One user commented that using your therapist to look like a victim is a premium level of manipulation. People are pointing out that he is using professional mental health spaces just to gain sympathy points from the algorithm. Now let's look at what he had to say about his former business partners and the actual collapse of the Try Guys brand. Ned claimed on the podcast that the immediate consequences of the leaked photos completely shattered his marriage. He then explained that his business partners found out the context of his relationship with an employee, which understandably concerned them. But then he shifted the blame by stating that they ultimately chose to part ways with me and kind of forced both me and Ariel away from the brand. He complained that they edited him out of videos, which confused the audience. This is a massive perception shift for the viewers because the company originally stated Ariel could return whenever she wanted. Ned is out here making it sound like his wife was blacklisted from her own friend group because of his actions. Commenters on TikTok immediately called him out for playing the victim. One user wrote that he is trying to drag his ex-wife into his corporate pity party. Another comment stated that his business partners did not force Ariel away, his actions simply made it impossible for her to stay. Ned also spent a massive chunk of time discussing how he navigates the real world versus the online vitriol. He told the podcast host that when the photos first went viral, he felt like the whole world hated him. But then he cleared his throat and claimed that his interpersonal human interactions on the street are actually a lot softer than social media. He said that when he meets people in public, they usually just say, "Man, you really messed up, huh?" He claimed that strangers on the street tell him that everyone goes through hard times, and they ask him how he is doing. The internet immediately flagged this statement as a complete delusion of grandeur. A top thread on Reddit pointed out that people on the street are just trying to avoid an awkward confrontation with a disgraced YouTuber. Commenters are noting that he is mistaking polite social awkwardness for public forgiveness. It is honestly fascinating to watch him try to convince his remaining audience that the real world is totally fine with his past behavior. He is doing everything he can to minimize the gravity of the workplace affair. It is honestly wild to think about the alternate universe where this scandal never happened to the Try Guys brand. Before the leaked photos, the group was on a massive upward trajectory as the darlings of YouTube. They had a major Food Network show that got completely canceled because of Ned's actions. The company lost hundreds of thousands of dollars on unreleased content that they had to scrap entirely. If Ned had kept his promises, the group would probably be dominating the YouTube FYC events right now, actively getting pushed for Emmy nominations alongside shows like Hot Ones and Good Mythical Morning. YouTube is spending massive amounts of money to get traditional network consideration for their creators this year, pushing short-form comedy and outstanding talk series. Keith and Zach are still out there trying to keep the ball rolling with high-quality content, but the platform does not acknowledge them like they used to. Ned's choices did not just break his home, they completely altered the financial future of his closest friends. Yet, he is the only one still trying to make a buck off the wreckage. Ned Fulmer is proving that in the creator economy, shame is just a metric you can monetize. He does not want the internet to forget his scandal because without it, he has no audience left to command. He is willingly exposing his children and his ex-wife to perpetual online vitriol just to keep his view count from hitting zero. It is a deeply cynical look at what happens when an influencer loses their mind and their morals to the digital algorithm. Anyways, guys, let me know what you think about everything down below, and I'll see you next time.